message written not in words, but in blood. By morning, that message would be impossible to ignore. Bodies hung from bridges. Men, faceless, nameless to the public, dangled lifeless in the glow of the rising sun. Their torsos bore crude warnings carved or painted by hand. Their killers hadn't simply murdered them, they had staged them like trophies. A city that had once belonged to the Sinaloa Cartel now stood as a stage for war. To the outside world, Culiacán was supposed to be safe, at least safe compared to Tijuana or Juarez, places where violence had already consumed entire communities. But on that night, the illusion shattered. Culiacán was no longer just the home of the world's most powerful cartel. It was a battlefield where betrayal, greed, and vengeance would spill into the open. And as dawn broke, the city awoke to terror. Parents hurried children away from bridges. Reporters whispered warnings before their cameras were shut down. Everyone knew the truth, this wasn't random violence. It was a declaration. A brutal reminder that the Sinaloa Cartel, once united under one leader, was tearing itself apart from the inside. The war was no longer against the government. It was Sinaloa versus Sinaloa. El Chapo Guzman was behind bars, but his shadow stretched across every corner of the city. His sons, Los Chapitos, were eager to prove themselves, ruthless, reckless, and hungry for control. Meanwhile, his old partner, El Mayo Zambada, the ghost-like figure who had outlived every rival, was not ready to step aside. Culiacán had always been theirs. The city fed them, protected them, feared them. But that night, fear took on a new shape. No longer the quiet fear of whispered names, or the unseen power of men in shadows. This was open war. The bridges became billboards of terror. The streets became rivers of blood. And the question that haunted every resident that morning was simple. If the cartel was now at war with itself, what chance did ordinary people have of surviving the storm? But this wasn't just about one night. It was about decades of alliances forged and broken. Smuggling routes worth billions. And leaders who would rather burn their city to the ground than surrender their power. The images of bodies hanging above Culiacán were more than shock. They were a symbol. A message to allies and enemies alike. The Sinaloa Cartel was at war with itself, and the city would pay the price.